Hi and welcome back for another crochet plant hanger video. You will need a double knitted yarn, a 4mm crochet hook, something to cut your yarn with, a tapestry needle and a stick, which is about 13 centimeters long. We will start with a magic circle or a magic ring. We will chain 2 and put 12 double crochets into that magic circle. When you did your 12 double crochets, pull the tail to secure the circle and slip stitch into the beginning of the round. Round 2, we'll start with chain 2 and then we will place 2 double crochets into each stitch around for a total of 24 stitches. When you get to the end, slip stitch into the beginning of the round. Round 3, we'll chain 2 again, and we will place 2 double crochets into that same stitch, and then 1 double crochet into the next. 2 double crochet, 1 double crochet, for a total of 36 stitches for this round. When you get to the end, slip stitch to the beginning of the round. Round 4 will be chain 2 and then 2 double crochet into that same stitch and then 1 double crochet into the next 2 following stitches. 2 double crochet in one stitch and then 1 double crochet in the next 2 following stitches for a total of 48 stitches for the round. When you get to the end, slip stitch to the beginning of the round. And round 5, we'll start with a chain 1 and we'll be working in the back loops only. We'll be making half double crochet into each stitch through the back loops only. So you see there are 2 stitches here, the front one and the back one. So half double crochet into each stitch around, back loops only. Slip stitch to the beginning of the round. Round 6 will be puff stitch round, so no chain, just go straight into that same stitch, pulling 4 up and then securing it with a chain. Chain 1, skip a stitch and do another puff stitch. So you pull 4 up for this puff stitch, secure it with a chain and then chain 1 and skip a stitch and repeat all the way around for a total of 24 puff stitches around. When you get to the end, slip stitch into the top of the first puff stitch of the round. And round 7 to 12 including will be round of puff stitches. Now we're going into that same big space where this slip stitch is, in between the puff stitches, and you do the puff stitches and in each big space in between the puffs. So it's puff stitch into the big space, chain 1 and then go into the next big space with a puff stitch, chain 1 and repeat around, rows 7 to 12 including. When you finished your 12th round, slip stitch into the first puff stitch of the round. And row 13 we'll chain 1 and we'll place half double crochet on top of that puff stitch, and then we'll place 2 half double crochets into the big spaces. So 1 half double crochet on top of the puff stitch, 2 half double crochets in between the puff stitches for a total of 72 stitches. When you get to the end, slip stitch to the beginning of the round. Now we'll be making little ears, I call them, for the straps. So we'll slip stitch into the next stitch, and then we'll be making 4 half double crochets into the next stitch. Then slip stitch into the next stitch. Then slip stitch into the next 6 stitches. Then 4 half double crochets into the next stitch. Slip stitch into the next stitch, chain 1 to secure, and cut your yarn. Now we're going to count 25 stitches along the work to the other side, and we're going to attach the yarn and repeat these 2 little ears on the other side. Attach your yarn into the 25th stitch, when I attach the yarn I like to do a double knot just to secure it. We're going to sew the tail in afterwards. Then slip stitch into the same stitch, and then 4 half double crochets into the next stitch, then slip stitch into the next stitch, then slip stitch into the next 6 stitches, four half double crochets into the next stitch, and then slip stitch into the next stitch, chain 1 and cut your yarn. I like to use the bottom of a pop bottle, which is usually 1.5 or 2 litre for my indoor plants, because they're light and see-through, so you can use them in any hanger. This plant holder will hold a 10 to 12 centimetre pot. We're going to make the straps now. We're going to attach the yarn on the second stitch of the right ear, and I am going to chain 91. You can do it as long or as short as you want, but I'm chaining 91. Then we'll be working back down the chain with single crochet. So single crochet into the second stitch from the hook, and then a single crochet in every stitch all the way down the chain. When you get back down, slip stitch into the skip a stitch and then slip stitch into the third stitch. so it's more secure over 3 stitches. We'll use one of the tails later on to sew it in properly. Chain 1, pull the yarn and cut it. Now we're going to attach it onto the other ear, so pull on it just to make sure that it's twisted the right way, and then we're going to take some yarn and we're going to sew that into that other ear using the chain stitch and the single crochet over the 3 stitches on the ear. So we're going to go into the 2nd stitch, I'm going to go through one of the stitches on the strap and just work it in and out, backwards and forwards a few times through the chain stitch and the single crochet stitch over the 3 stitches on the ear. Then you're going to want to repeat that process on the other side. Do as many chains as you did and come back down with a single crochet and attach it onto the other side, onto the other ear, and then sew your tails in. Now we're going to attach it to the stick. Now I had a little incident with the super glue. When I tried gluing it, it dried onto the tip and then it squirted all over me and I panicked, so I didn't film that bit. So I simply attach both straps on either side of the stick with a tiny bit of super glue, and then after I attach the hanging chain, I secured it with a bit more super glue just to make sure it's not going to move. So this is how I attached it, just with a tiny dot just to hold it onto place. Just make sure you put it in the right place. And then I did a 25 chain. You can do it again as long or as short as you want. That's what you're going to use to hang it. So I did a chain 25. Then pull your yarn and cut it, leave a tiny tail to sew with. And we're going to attach it on the straps at the top. So we're going to go through the strap and then go through the first chain stitch just to hold it into place, so it's not pulling too much. Just a few times and then that's it. Cut it off and do it on the other side as well. And when you're done attaching your chain, go around your project and sew all your tails in if you haven't done it so far. Just going to do another dot of glue on the stick on either side of the straps just to give it a bit more security. And that's it, that's your plant hanger done. I really hoped you enjoyed this video and you'll make lots of these for your lovely home. And I will see you again in the next video. Thank you very much for watching.